Ciao a tutti, mi chiamo Marco Mainini, vi sto parlando dall'Accademia Musica Moderna di Milano. Io sono il responsabile della Guitar School di questa sede e siamo qui oggi perché si stanno svolgendo gli esami della RGT, che è quel ramo che si occupa di portare gli esami, i chitarristi e i bassisti al London College of Music, facendo l'esame direttamente qui, da noi, presso la nostra sede, un servizio che noi offriamo agli allievi. E abbiamo la fortuna di avere Tony Skinner, che è il presidente della RGT, che ci ha concesso una piccola intervista. E quindi riusciremo a fare delle domande giusto per chiarire chi è RGT, chi è lui, anche magari perché può essere curioso, e scoprire qualcosa di più su RGT e LCM, London College of Music. Oh, Tony Skinner.
Good morning, Mr. Skinner.
Good morning.
Could you please tell us how RGT started?
Well, we started in 1992, and we started in the UK, and it became an association of guitar teachers. There used to be an education body in London that organised all the guitar teachers for London. When this closed, RGT came in and started to organise the guitar teachers for the UK. And that's how we began. And then we started to offer examinations, first in electric guitar. After a while, we developed a bass guitar, then to acoustic guitar, and finally to rock guitar. So now we cover all the guitar styles.
Wow, that's great. And as we know, this, especially this exam session has been held here at the AMM Rimini. Okay. So AMM, as you know, has been giving its intense contribution in the music field for almost 30 years, we can say. Could you please give us some feedback about your impression of the school, of the students, for example? How about them? How about their preparation?
Yes, well, I was impressed to find the school here. You have a nice setup here with lots of different teaching rooms that cover not just guitar but other instruments. And I think the presentation is very nice, that in each of the rooms there are lots of posters, lots of things to inspire the students. So my first impression was very good. And then, of course, I came to examine the students. And actually, they were also very good, luckily. So that's nice to know. They were well prepared. And when they get the results, they will see how they've done. But the standard has been good.
Oh, right. That's a really good news. Now, we can say that today the RGT is fully recognized. And it has been developing more and more in many countries, talking about the didactic. In your opinion, what's the vital element which has been able to raise students' and musicians' interests?
I think it's because what the exams at RGT offer are very much a reflection of the real life needs of a musician. So that when you're a guitar player, you need certain skills. If for example, electric guitar exams, they reflect exactly the skills that an electric guitar player needs in the real world. They need to be able to play rhythm guitar, they need to be able to improvise solos, and to do that they need to know their chords and they need to know their scales. And all these elements are covered by the electric guitar exams offered by RGT. This is why, although RGT started in the UK, it's in many, many countries across the world, not just in Europe, but as far-flung as places in South America, such as Peru, where we have exams, in North America, in Canada, in Australia and New Zealand, very strong, particularly now growing in China and India, and places like Malaysia, Thailand, also in Africa, very big centres in the Far East, and also in places like Dubai and Qatar, lots of examinations, RGT examinations there. So you think, why so many people are interested in RGT? It's because the exams do reflect the real life needs of guitar players. And as I gave you the example of the electric guitar, then the same thing applies to the rock. In the rock guitar we have the very popular songs, performance-based. So some of the most popular songs in the world, like typically Smoke on the Water and this sort of thing, people can do as part of their examinations. And I think this is the reason why it's become such a popular series of exams.
Yes, and so if we consider, for example, a young student who applies for the RGT diploma and makes so an important choice and also demanding choice, we can say. Do you think that this represents a good basis in order to build up a good professional career?
Yes, I think that's exactly the point. Because with the RGT exams, you're studying the basics of music playing. You're studying the chords, you're studying the scales. You have to know this as the foundation. Once you know those, you can apply it to any style. That's the good thing. It doesn't dictate, if you do, for example, electric guitar exams of RGT, it doesn't dictate that you only play one style. If you learn, even at the very basic level, as you said, the chords G, C, D, E minor, A minor, you can probably play 10,000 songs. And they could be rock songs, they could be pop songs, they could be country, they could be reggae, they could be soul, they could be any popular music style, just applying those same chords. So that's why the RGT provides a very firm foundation for anyone to carry on in their studies playing guitar.
All right, and is it likely that RGT would arrange some music workshop both in Italy and also in other countries? I mean, considering that these events have the main aim to make more musicians and students aware of this didactic project, is it possible that this could happen?
Yes, it's quite possible. If we're invited to do so, we can do so during, often the obvious time to do it is during an examiner visit. When the examiner is already visited to do the exams, they can maybe spend another day and they can run some workshops, some demonstrations. That is always possible to organise, and we certainly do that in many countries.
Yes, also because this could be a great opportunity also for RGT to show students how they can certify their professionality, for example.
Yes, of course, that's a very good idea and something we're very happy to take up, and we've done quite a lot in the past.
All right, and let's say that there are many famous RGT honorary members who are really influential in the music field. Could you tell us why and how did they decide to take part in this project?
All these people we have approached, or they have approached us in some cases, and the reason I think they support RGT is because they believe in our educational values. They believe in what I was telling you earlier, which is that the exams do reflect the real life needs of musicians. So they can see that if people learn the curriculum that we're laying out, that they really will progress as musicians. And it's not something just to learn in theory, but they can see how it is applied in practice. And I think that is why a lot of these very eminent musicians are very supportive of what we do.
Ah, that's great. So, do you have already an idea about some RGT future plans, for example?
Well, one of the future things we're starting to develop is to do with performance awards, which we have just recently started. And these give the facility for people who want to focus on the performance side of examining to also get a qualification. And they can enter those exams either as a live exam, as in the past, but the new development is that they can enter them via video, sort of in the way we're making a video now. They can make a video of themselves playing the pieces in the RGC syllabuses, and they can either do as a video or recording, audio recording that is, and they can submit those, and that can be assessed in the form of a performance award. So we think maybe this is one of the ways of future developments for the RGT, particularly for, say, certain areas where it may not be feasible to send an examiner for whatever reason, or where there's a small number of people.
Yes, all right. And let's say that this is a strange question, but I'm going to ask you anyway. Some students, but most of their mothers especially, asking if some honorary members, such as Paul McCartney or David Gilmour, could come and visit us during the exam sessions. Is that possible?
I don't think it's realistic to ask that, because what we say to our honorary patrons is that we try not to impose on them. because they have very busy lives. They have a lot of commitments and a lot of people demanding things of them. So we have an arrangement with them. If they want to partake in something, they can volunteer for that. And in the past, some have. I can't give you names because it's not appropriate, but we have had some of the patrons actually sitting next to me in the exam room to watch the exams, not to examine, but just to see what's going on.
Yeah.
And maybe they can sign some autographs afterwards. But we don't promise this for anyone, I'm afraid.
Well, yeah.
Because we can't. We know they're so busy.
Yes, thanks a lot anyway. And as a last question, I'd like to ask you, Mr. Skinner, as a guitarist and a professional, could you tell us which kind of music do you like to perform, and if you want to conclude also?
Okay, well, what kind I like to perform is very dependent on the period, because I've been playing for many years, too many, probably over 40, and in that time I've covered a lot of styles, from rock guitar to blues to classical guitar to flamenco to jazz to folk, and the styles I'm interested in tend to vary depending on what I'm doing at that particular time. At this moment in time, I'm playing a lot of acoustic guitar. Although I'm holding electric now, I'm playing a lot of acoustic guitar, and I'm using a lot of altered tunings and this sort of thing. And so that is my current interest. But in the past and still currently, I still like to play, whether it's blues or jazz or rock, quite a wide range.
And is there a specific reason why you like performing a kind of music in comparison to another one? Is there a specific feeling you feel when you perform?
Yeah, I think each kind of music has its own resonance with a person, and it can vary at times. Just like people like different foods at different times in their life. Sometimes someone might need to be playing a very emotional blues or something like that. Sometimes they might like to play something that is more structured in a way, like a classical piece. So it can very much vary depending on the time and what else is going on in your life.
All right. So, Mr. Skinner, I thank you so much, and thank you so much also for from all the AMM members.
Thank you, and I wish all your students all the very best, not only with the exams, but with all their musical studies in the future.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Bye.